We did get outside. I'm going to get started in a few moments, but as the sun keeps streaming in my window, we can take the essence of the day and bring it into our bodies. So if you can see the light coming through my French doors, it's an appropriate image for meditation. And so insight and the word enlightenment are used a lot. But these are speculations. And the way I teach is to try and have you experience directly some of these concepts. So they're not theories, but felt perceptions. So the light you see outside is wonderful to have, but one of the premises or the practices of meditation is to create what's called a light body. Not just one that's not heavy, but one that is enlightened, so full of light. So how do we do that? How do we get from the darkness into the light and the heaviness that comes with darkness? So it's easier when the sun is shining and everything's going well. Not so easy when you're faced with things that are challenging. But before we get started, I will just share two things. One is my philosophy that it takes a calamity to elevate consciousness. And I know this for a fact myself because some of you know this. A few years ago, I was badly injured by a yoga teacher, and I could barely move my body. I was in pain every day for most of the day, and all I could do was really sit and do meditation and breathe and gentle movement. So this class actually was designed out of that traumatic experience. And again, sometimes it takes some sort of a trauma. We're all going through a mild to heavy traumatic experience. But it really takes that to force us to develop practices like this. Otherwise, why bother? Why not just go out and play in the sun? But you're here probably because this is of some value to you, this practice, or you're hoping it will be. Second thing I'll share before we get started is the art of seeing in the body. So that first word I was throwing around, insight, is direct perception into your own body, which is really all you have to work with. Everything else is speculation. So the classic image is you see a stick and it's a snake. And so this is the sense organs and the outer world falsely perceiving. You do this all the time. And so what I'm asking you to try and do is to clear house, to clean house, to remove all expectations of what might happen tomorrow, the next few days, months. We don't know. Perfect yoga setup. And to exist in the moment that you are right now in your body. Again, everything else is speculation. So let's close the eyes and begin to experience our bodies. And we can rock them back and forth a little bit. And even though I said to operate or suggested to operate in a state of unknowing, certain things you do know, one of which is if you need to sit in a chair to be comfortable, please do. And now as we just slowly pour the weight forward and back like some sort of rocking chair that's become our bodies. Moving slowly, we can start to feel, if we release a little bit, the front of the sitting bones, the back, and we can slow this down like a swing set that's been pushed and then left to slowly swing to some sort of a central hanging position. So when you sit, you don't want to have a rigidity, but you're a living, breathing being, not a statue. So allow your body to float to a central axis, as if you were floating in a very buoyant fluid. And then with soft eye, soft tongue, again, experience the breath coming in and out of your physical body. So the other false perception about meditation is that we're going to close off, even by closing the eyes, all thoughts, all disturbances, and lock ourselves in a cave. But in fact, softening on the exhale, the muscles of the face, jaw, and tongue, and then softening on the next exhale, the neck, the shoulders, the chest, shoulder blades. And with each exhalation, pouring and releasing any tension you can identify. You're now not closing the body or trying to armor it from the outside, but in fact, softening. And so that if you slowly and methodically relax and release the muscles and their holding patterns, their defensive holding patterns, you're taking the first step toward that light body by becoming more translucent in the way that you perceive the container of your body, the skin, the muscles. And you're bringing in the outer environment as you breathe. And then as you exhale and release, you're exchanging with the space around you. So this is very simple, and we can take the hands to the belly and feel the drawing of the breath down into the belly, softening, filling. Think of a baby's belly, so soft and calm. And then releasing. And take your mind now to the sensation of breathing and allowing breath to fill this area, to relax any of the systems encapsulated where you have your hands, so your organ body, digestive system. Again, as much as possible, using the clean sweep in and out of your breath. Bring in the good, bring in the replenishing, nourishing inhale, and release any tension, any obstruction. And in a way, admire yourself, admire your belly, and as you might talk to your favorite pet, you might say, good dog. This is a nice belly here. It's quite nice. And so we'll leave the belly and take the hands a little bit above that to the solar plexus, bottom ribs, and just work here and now. The diaphragm is Middle Earth. Below it, we could think of the ocean or down into the earth. Take your pick. Above it, we could think of the sky. And the diaphragm descends down as you inhale, gently massaging the organs, and then releases up and ascends energy up toward the heavens, encapsulated in the upper body. So take a few more breaths to just get into touch with this natural action of the diaphragm like a trampoline. And it's difficult to fully release the breath into a natural pattern. Most people only experience it while they're sleeping, maybe. And when you're nervous or stressed, this place in the body knots itself up and reduces your ability to breathe well. So let's leave the diaphragm doing its pulsation like an internal jellyfish. Glide the hands up to the chest gently. Place the palms. And now you can feel the influx of the breath flowing and expanding this area in a very gentle way. Make sure that the head is relaxed and released, and the tongue as well. So the heart center is the gateway to the upper chakras, or energy centers. And the brain that we're so enamored of. But spending some time in the heart and sensing the roots of the head are actually down in the heart. The roots of the head, or the subconscious, may be located here in the heart. Just bring your mind into your heart center. Sense any tension there, release it, and just, again, give it a little positive feedback. You can even thank your heart for operating and keeping you alive. Release the hands, keeping the eyes closed. And maybe pitching back and forth a little again. And now let's feel three areas. Let's feel the base of the belly. And let's feel the heart floating above that. So find a little totem pole. And the base is the belly and the hips. And then above it is the heart. And then above the heart is the head floating and in such a position that you're not struggling. So this is a work in progress, and as you sit, if we were to sit here for the entire hour, which we're not, your body would float around and make subtle shifts, releasing the leg bones, the hips. And the breath is constantly cleaning and reorganizing and resorting. So in a sense, you're not the same person you were one breath ago. Things have changed, and you have no idea what's going to happen next, except another breath. And so your mind is captivated by the flow of breath, the gentle rhythm. And all expectations, all bets are off. Let's cross the arms, put the palms on the fronts of the shoulders. And we'll do a little Brahmari pranayama. So now we're going to bring sound into the picture. And this is simply humming, although it's affectionately known as the bumblebee breath. As you hum, you're not singing for an audience, but you're humming to yourself. Release the hands, take some normal breaths. And often if you hum, you begin to smile. And so can you let the corners of the mouth just start to begin to smile like the Mona Lisa. And even this subtle action may change the game of how you feel in your body. Let's try it again with the hands across the shoulders, feeling the vibration, soaking in it, soaking in sound to release, again, any deeper holding patterns. Hands down, corners of the mouth up. Tastes good. One more. It's all a big experiment. And can you feel maybe all the way, the vibration all the way down from the skull to the solar plexus? See what you can feel and whether you can feel that pulsation down there. Inhale. Use the hands. Smile without effort. You have a secret. And that secret is that you are in your own body. And it's the best place to be. No one else can be there, and any disruptive thoughts can be swept away with the breath. It's a wonderful floating feeling. Now, as we move on, anyone who's feeling particularly good in any of these transitions can stay and repeat them. But for now, we'll, without too much disruption, lay down. And you can either lay down without support, or I've got a little bolster set up that I often do in class for supported Shavasana. Eventually we'll all move down to the floor without catching bolster at the area of the diaphragm. And then taking the feet together, the knees wide, Supta Baddha Konasana. Unless this is uncomfortable, in which case you can keep your straight legs. So drop into this yoga posture, which is restorative. And if there's too much strain in the inner legs, so that it's distracting you, place something under your knees. Take your hands to your belly again and just soften this area I often call the goldfish bowl, or the ocean within the body. Few breaths with the hands, solar plexus, softening, releasing in this orientation, the diaphragm. And allowing the breath to flow in, flow out without obstruction. And then maybe a few of the hands on the heart. Making sure the head is comfortably positioned. And softening the eyes, the tongue, and the jaw. Hands rest down on the floor. A few more breaths. So when we take shapes in meditation, we're trying to soak in them and let them reveal sensations, deeper sensations. If it's painful, then you must modify. And let's bring the hands to the outer knees, bring them together, and straighten one leg along the floor of the other leg. And if you have support under your spine, it's a great way to practice pranayama because it opens up the front of the chest a little more easily. The inner legs have been open in the prior pose so that the legs almost become, in meditation, like breathing straws, hollow tubes. A few more breaths just to soak in and allow the body to become a little more open, dispersed across the bolster. Almost like opening a bed sheet that's been crumpled up from a night's worth of sleep. bending one knee, bending the other. And if you're on support, you're going to roll to one side and remove the support. And then come down onto your back again without, unless you need something under your head, which is fine. So now we'll come down to normal Shavasana and feel the back of the body experiencing gravity. So feel the hardness of the floor of the mat. And again, your reaction or how you hold yourself in your body will dictate how you receive sensation. So is the hard floor a bad thing or a good thing? And how much of the sensation is created by projecting or expectation? Just allow the body to receive the floor. And then slide one knee to that position, the other knee. Keeping the feet hip width and bring the arms straight out from the body or goalpost, right angle, if it's not too much of a stretch on your arm. Inhale, rock the hips forward, gently arching the low back. Exhale, release the spine to its natural, if not slightly flattened position. Inhale, just like the swing set gets pushed, sacrum moves forward. Exhale, you release, swing set comes back toward you, toward the floor. Go really slowly and don't push the body around as we do a little bit in the morning. Now we're just creating a wave action up and down the spine. So if you are familiar with cranial sacral work, or even if you're not, this is a little bit what we're doing here as we roll the sacrum forward and the chest moves toward the nodding chin. We exhale, we release the low back to the ground, the head may roll back a bit, and the neck arch, the mouth open. You could even, if you were curious, take your hands or flexible and take the middle fingers to the soft tissue just under the base of the skull. And as you exhale, just press gently into the tissue there and soften it. And then do it a few times. So these are, this is the location of the suboccipitals. You don't have to know that, except to know that the eyes, the roots of the eyes are located back here. So when your elementary school teacher said, "I have eyes in the back of my head," you actually do. So allow the motion to stop and just move the eyes, either open or closed to the left and then to the right. And if your hands or your fingers are on this soft tissue, you may feel a little fluctuation of movement. Release and straighten the legs. So now we want the sacrum to be relaxed, letting the feet fall apart, the hips capsules to relax, like the legs of a cooked turkey. And that subtle muscle area in the back of the head to relax, which will in turn relax the jaw and any tension in the eyes. If you're prone to migraines, some of your work might be here. or tension headaches. And then let's bend one knee and the other again. And this time, the feet are wide, the arms come out to the sides. And take an inhale to gently rock the hips forward and then drop the knees to the left, keeping the feet wide and planted, the hips planted. And then casually allow the head to roll the opposite way. Without effort, without strain. Inhale the knees to center. Exhale, let the knees drop to the right. And after the knees have dropped and the muscles around the hips have relaxed, translate the spiral up the spine and let the head roll. So this work, if you're new to it, is very slow. As if you're working not in air space, but in heavy syrup. Splash the knees over to one side, and then slowly, in a very fluid way, allow the spine to unwind in the other direction. You can time it with the breath. That can be wonderful. You exhale. And let's add a little sound here. We did this, you came to my class last week. Inhale to center. Let the knees drop. Exhale. And as you roll the head, open the mouth and go, like a crashing ocean wave. Repeat. Inhale, knees to center. Exhale, release. You can start with a nice expulsion of this sound in the back of the throat cavity. But then soften it. Make it more subtle and internal. Just as with the humming, we're not doing it for anyone else. We're doing it to hear the echo or the sensation in our own body. What is the effect? Does it relax the front of the brain, the neck, the jaw? To add this ocean wave sound. And we're practicing on the exhale full relinquishment of the body. So become less and less guarded with the muscles. Come back to center, bring the arms toward the hips. Slide one leg long, the other leg long, and take a few breaths. Once again, bring your mind to your breath and the simple observation of intake and exhale. Softening, softening, even more with each exhale. At first, the body may feel heavy. And then after that, a lightness begins to emerge. Let's bend one knee and the other, arms out to the sides or goalpost. This time, like you're at the beach, cross your right knee over your left. Knees are touching. Inhale. Exhale, glide the knees halfway to the right, head goes left. And inhale back to center. It's a restricted motion or twist. Exhale, knees go right, the right leg, gently guiding the left leg. The head goes the other way. You can add a piece as the legs go to the right, the head goes left. You can slide your left arm along the floor over your head, like the Statue of Liberty. And then come back to center and repeat. Really slow. Let the knees and the legs lead the way. The spiral unfurls, and the final piece is the gentle stretching of the left arm along the floor. One more. Don't overdo, this is not yoga class. Inhale back to center, uncross and try the other side. The left knee on top of the right. Inhale, exhale, knees drop left, slowly. So as stretch in the inner right leg, roll the head to the right, and maybe start just with the legs if you're new. It's the same motion repeated, really slow with the same relaxed rhythm as the ocean, using your breath as a guide. And then maybe the sliding of the arm along the floor overhead can be brought into the picture. So feel in this motion that the body unwinds, releasing the neck, releasing the mid-back. One more. Legs going left, head going right, and right arm slides. Coming back to center, inhale, bring the arms by the hips, uncross. Drape one leg to the floor in front of you, the other, and relax. So now feel the arms and the legs and the sensations we've created through movement. Not for the sake of building muscle or increasing our cosmetic value, but almost the reverse of releasing the legs, the arms from service. So now you can say a little thank you to your arms and your legs. Well, thanks for carrying me around and helping me carry things. And now just breathe up and down the spine. Dissolving the arms and the legs more deeply from your attachment to them and how wonderful they are. They are wonderful, but they need to have rest. And now imagine they're filled with light, not muscle and bone at all. Your whole body is now accumulating a sense of lightness with the drawing of breath in and out, as if the sunlight we saw earlier could be brought into the body. And let's bend the knees, roll to one side. And we can take the move coming out of Shavasana and play with it by taking what I call Russian dancer arms, collecting the elbows and the hands. And if you need a pillow for your head, take it. Like you're resting, sleeping on your side, knees drawn in. Russian dancer arms. Inhale and exhale, allow that upper elbow to glide toward the floor as your forehead glides to the floor. Inhale, come up to where we started, maybe rolling onto the back of the head a little, but the lower arm bone, the upper part of the lower arm stays glued. So it's a small movement, cascade down, and then rolling back on the back of the head. Keep your eyes closed once you've got this, and feel the glide of the joints in the lower shoulder, the upper shoulder, the elbows, and in the neck. And you can even create a kayaking motion, but don't get carried away in that abstraction. Any sort of athleticism or abstracting into something outside of the simple, uncalibrated motion, or not to say uncalibrated, but we're not going anywhere. We're not taking a trip in a kayak at all. We're creating a movement sensation pattern, the way we would rock the cradle of a child. And so we're working and rolling in the joints of the arms and the neck. And now we release, and we can open up a twist if we want, lazily, before rolling to the other side. And trying the other side, I'll shift so you won't lose me. Although now you know how this works. And you create the Russian dancer arms. Exhale, the upper elbow goes down, the forehead rolls. Inhale, sweeps into the body like a wave coming in, trying to spill you over in the opposite direction. So if you've ever been to the ocean, sea, on the shore, floating in the shallows, a piece of seaweed that's being flipped back and forth by the lapping of the waves. So keep in tune with your natural breath. It's your inner ocean. And allow your body, like a piece of seaweed, to simply receive without trying to go anywhere or move it with great force. And then you can take a lazy twist, maybe lifting the upper knee off the lower and placing the foot. Come back onto our backs, extend our legs long, arms by the hips, and check in. Feel the areas that have been touched by the motion. And maybe they're a little more effervescent. And sparkly. So once again, the light, think of light particles glimmering in the body, in the joint spaces, as we abandon ship, so to speak. We abandon our clinging to the life raft of the body, which is what we do. Let's roll to the one side and come up seated. And get comfortable again without too much distraction. You could be in a chair again. Drop right in, creating your totem pole. Hips, belly, soft drop. And then the chest above the diaphragm, floating above the heart area, the chest, the head floating. So the more you cling to your transient framework, trying to make it something that's solid and always going to be there like a statue, the less able you are to feel real sensation and the simple, wonderful moment of each breath coming in and out of the body, feeding the body. This is it. And so really meditation, great part of it is a gradual peeling away of anything which obstructs you from the simple sensation of living. And we start again with the simple sensation of breathing. And it becomes a wonderful experience. Very much like eating a meal or sipping a glass of wine. At the end of the exhalation now, you feel and almost taste the end of the exhalation. And let it resolve or translate into every cell of your body. Again, you're welcome to stay seated if you're more of a practice sitter and have yourself a fine meal. But we'll move to the third course of our meal, standing meditation. And this is from the Taoist system of meditation. Now, the Taoists and the Tai Chi adepts are part of that. Had the premise that seated meditation was great, but at some point you come out of your cave, and how do you conduct yourself in space, standing and moving? So we take what we've gained from the ground, and now we try to take it into what would normally be a fairly mundane act of trying to stand. Yogis tend to want to be rigid and soldierly. But in this practice, imagine like a puppet or a marionette, you're hanging on strings. Even the tailbone drops, and the low back is very broad and soft, hands by the sides. Again, this is not a rigid proposition, so as we bend into one knee and let the weight pour over. If we were made not of muscles and bones, but of some sort of syrup, or fluid, or heavy gas, and then pouring to the other side, and just feel the translation with your eyes closed if possible, of slow transfer with complete relaxation, even in the soles of the feet. So let the heels bear the weight. When you come to morning practice with me, if you do, we're often trying to activate in a muscular way body parts. Here is deactivation for the purpose of greater sensitivity. So if you've ever tried to play an instrument like a piano or a violin and clobbered it, or even played golf and clobbered it, the instructor will always say, come on, soften up here. And so now the body is your primary instrument. It needs to be tuned, and tuned with both gratitude and care. Now float to the center, which is always a movable feast. And you could feel a light translation from left to right as a residue of our pouring practice. And there are two sides of the body, in case you hadn't noticed, or bipeds. And in subtle yoga, you're always feeling a slight swirling if you don't lock your hips, your knees. And think of little children when they first stand onto their feet, they're like wobbly sailors. And then let the hands come away from the body like a first movement of flying. Spread the fingers like feathers. Soften the shoulders and the elbows from our rolling work. And sink down into the heels. As if you were touching something below you, like the surface of a pond. And your entire lower body, from the diaphragm down, is immersed in this nice watery substance. And then the third position, the arms, take the palms back toward the heart and allow the elbows and shoulders to relax here as well. Like you're holding a ball. Soften. The lower half of the body is still embedded in nice, earthy, watery solidarity. And now above that is this floating, very light, and release the hands. Open the eyes and we'll do some swinging or body drumming. So now we'll take a more visceral approach, patting the shoulders and coming across the collarbones to the center of the chest. So with practice, your breath can be the primary tool to pat down the body, but sometimes it takes a little more. So now let's move to the midsection, side ribs, and move in toward the solar plexus. Go easy, but the fascia, the connective tissue that keeps everything under wraps, it sometimes reacts to stress, and again, tries to armor the body. So now we're just allowing that to release, tapping the body. Now the lower belly, and then you can use both arms. And we can pat down the arms, just tapping the wrist, the other wrist, and work up the arms, elbow joints. Flip the palm over, work up the inner arm. Tap and release. And then the legs, the hips. Keep your eyes open here. Down toward the knee. And then standing again on that floating center line, feel or sensate the arms and the legs now, and maybe a little tingliness. Let's rub the hands together now to produce a sensation in the palms. And I'm going to try to start a fire. And so in yoga, you have a little crock pot, little oven in Taoist practice, and even Buddhist. And so at the base of the lower chakras, there's a little Bunsen burner. And so we're cultivating the beginnings of that opening. And so you can just imagine a little flame as your hands pulse toward one another and out. You're warming your hands on that flame, releasing any tension in the inner hips. The belly is soft. Those with an advanced practice, at the end of the exhale, you can tone the pelvic floor a little bit, like adjusting the width of the flame. Now we're going to try to distribute that, whatever you want to call it, that source of light, heat. And so we'll bring that energy up as we sink the hips down, and flip the palms and exhale. Allow the legs to gently straighten. Inhale, sink down, the breath goes downward to fan the flames, the base of the spine. Exhale, up comes the energy of the spine. Inhale and exhale. So if you were in yoga class, I think it was either Friday or Saturday, I was playing with paradoxical breath. And this is where that comes from. Inhale down and exhale, float up. One more, slow as you go. And then take a few breaths, floating on the center. Feel any sensations in the palms. Now we have other ways of distributing this sensation in the body. So if we bend over and scoop, you can imagine as fluid or maybe some earth energy and pour it like a baptism over the top of the head. Let it pour down without touching the head, the face, slowly over the jaw, the neck and chest. So now we're taking a little bath. And whatever this is, you can imagine it or feel it. Inhale, scoop down, grab some that watery element and then pour it. And release, relax even more deeply. Any tension in the muscles of the face, any mask, whether happy, sad, or neutral that you have in your facial muscles. I love the image of the Mona Lisa because you really don't know what's going on emotionally. And once again here, we don't know. We're not trying to create happiness. There's a lot of people are all about that practice these days. And even that intention is a projection that, in my opinion, leads to potential for disappointment. And if we have no expectations, only the sensation of being in our body, whatever it gives us or yields, like a garden, we can plant seeds, but we really don't know how it's going to turn out. All we can do is cultivate, which is what we're doing now. We're stirring and turning the soil and sensations in the body and bringing that groundedness of the earth or the water below the earth and pouring it on our bodies to give it a sense of finer attunement with the earth and the environment around us. Now we'll allow the hands to come down and feel connected to the space under your feet, the space around your arms, as if you're floating. The great Confucius quote said when he was 90, he was fully in tune with the ways of the universe. I think we're trying to attune ourselves via our bodies to what's happening around us in nature. Let's have a seat and get ready to bury ourselves in Shavasana. But first, let's sit briefly and check in. So sitting really, in one perspective, is checking in. You did 3 10-minute sits a day. And you just checked in, okay. Release, 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 breathe, breathe, breathe. Soften. It's like erasing the chalkboard, which gets cluttered, and then you have this transparency and receptivity. So now I'm going to suggest either supported Shavasana, to become drunk from meditation, which happens. And it's like a fine wine. Or if you have problems sleeping at night and you have a wall, simple trick. We go legs up the wall with our cushion and get one hip close. If not, partly up the wall, launch the legs up and settle the bolster or the blanket roll in the small of the back. If your legs are tight, then fold them and you're doing your seated meditation with the legs against the wall. And now you have an entirely different connection with your spine, and your lymphatic system can drain freely without any elaborate handstands, headstands, shoulder stands. Here we can keep the frame of the body still soft and experience the legs over the head. If you don't have the wall, you can use the chair, as I've shown before. Or you can simply take yourself into Shavasana with the legs on the bolster, crossed or simply open like a frog. So a few breaths here before we finish off. Again, in yoga, we're trying to some degree, we get caught in the trap of trying to master or meddle with the body and force it like a bonsai plant, trimming this, trimming that into certain postures. Here we're listening to the body and accommodating it like guests we want to be treating with respect and hospitality. Wherever you are, rolling gently to one side, take a breath, and as you come up, see if you can think of the body as, in a way, a paper that's been folded and unfolded many times, and so now it has a quality of softness, like cloth. And the sensations can radiate in any part of the cloth or fabric of the body. Allow the lower part of the spine to descend infinitely down into the earth. Allow the crown of the head to ascend or float infinitely up. In the center, bring the palms to the heart. Namaste.